The incessant buzzing of Sarah's phone vibrated against the worn wooden surface of her desk, each pulse a tiny hammer blow against her already throbbing temples. Outside the window of her cramped office, the relentless urban symphony of car, horns and distant sirens seemed to mock the quiet turmoil brewing within her. The email, still open on her monitor, glowed with a cold, accusatory light. Subject: Performance Review. Urgent action required. The clinical language barely concealed the devastating blow it delivered. Her recent project, the culmination of months of grueling work and unwavering dedication, had been deemed a failure. Significant budget overruns, missed deadlines, and ultimately, a product that fell far short of expectations. A wave of nausea churned in Sarah's stomach, a physical manifestation of the shame and anger that threatened to engulf her. Failure. The word echoed in the sterile confines of her office, a cruel indictment of her skills, her effort, her very worth. She had poured her heart and soul into this project, sacrificing evenings, weekends, even precious time with her family. And for what? To be branded a failure, her career trajectory suddenly veering off course into a landscape of uncertainty and doubt. Her hands trembled as she reached for a lukewarm cup of coffee, the bitter taste doing little to soothe the raw ache in her throat. The faces of her colleagues flashed through her mind, their polite but pitying glances, the hushed whispers she imagined echoing in the hallways. The weight of their judgment, real or perceived, pressed down on her, suffocating her. Sleep had offered no respite in recent nights. Her mind, a relentless projector, replayed every misstep, every decision that had led to this disastrous outcome. Anxiety, a constant shadow, whispered insidious doubts, questioning her abilities, her future prospects. What if this failure defined her? What if she never regained the trust of her superiors? The thought sent a shiver of cold dread down her spine. She stood up abruptly, the sudden movement making her head spin. She paced the small office, the confines feeling increasingly like a cage. The energy of her frustration needed an outlet, a target. She wanted to lash out, to defend her decisions, to explain the unforeseen obstacles that had derailed the project. But a deeper, more rational part of her knew that such an outburst would be counterproductive, perhaps even career-ending. Her gaze fell upon a small, well-worn book tucked away on a shelf amidst technical manuals and project binders. It was a collection of essays by Seneca, a gift from her grandfather, a man whose quiet wisdom had always been a guiding light in her life. With a sigh, Sarah picked up the book, its smooth leather cover a familiar comfort in her agitated hands. She opened it randomly, her eyes landing on a passage. "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." The word struck her with a sudden clarity. She realized how much of her current torment was self-inflicted, fueled by imagined future consequences and the relentless rehashing of past mistakes. The reality of the situation was undoubtedly difficult, but her mind was amplifying the pain, creating a far more devastating scenario than what had actually transpired. She continued to read, her eyes scanning another profound observation. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. Seneca's words offered a flicker of hope amidst the darkness. The failure of this project, while painful, might not be the definitive end of her career. It could potentially be the catalyst for a new beginning, an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to forge a different path. Intrigued, Sarah delved deeper into Seneca's essays, finding solace in his emphasis on resilience, on the importance of focusing on virtue and reason in the face of adversity. She then picked up a nearby volume of Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, another cherished gift from her grandfather. Her eyes fell upon a passage. "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Aurelius's words resonated deeply with her sense of helplessness. She had been so consumed by the external judgment of her project's failure that she had allowed it to dictate her inner state. Her anger, her anxiety were products of her reaction to the event, not the event itself. She had the power to control her thoughts, to choose a more reasoned and resilient response. She spent the rest of the afternoon immersed in the wisdom of these ancient Stoics. She found comfort in their emphasis on accepting what she could not control, on focusing her energy on her own actions and character. The project had failed, and she couldn't undo the past, but she could control how she responded to this setback, what she learned from it, and how she moved forward. The initial sting of failure hadn't vanished entirely, but its power over her had begun to diminish. She started to see the situation not as a personal annihilation, but as an opportunity for growth, a chance to reevaluate her approach and learn from her mistakes. Her focus shifted from self-recrimination to self-improvement. Days turned into weeks. Sarah faced the consequences of the project's failure with a newfound sense of calm and resolve. She took responsibility for her part in the shortcomings, but she also sought to understand the systemic issues that had contributed to the outcome. She engaged in constructive conversations with her superiors, focusing on lessons learned and proposing solutions for future projects. Instead of succumbing to bitterness or despair, Sarah channeled her energy into professional development, seeking out new skills and knowledge. She reconnected with her network, exploring potential opportunities that aligned with her evolving understanding of her strengths and weaknesses. Months later, while she was still with the same company in a different role, she encountered her former manager, Mr. Harrison, in the company cafeteria. He looked weary, the pressure of his responsibilities etched on his face. He offered a hesitant apology for some of the harsher criticisms leveled during her performance review. Sarah listened calmly, without defensiveness or resentment. She acknowledged his apology and spoke candidly about the lessons she had learned from the experience. The interaction ended not with lingering animosity, but with a sense of mutual respect. As Sarah walked away, she realized the profound impact of the Stoic philosophy she had embraced. True strength wasn't found in the absence of failure, but in the ability to navigate setbacks with reason, resilience, and a focus on inner virtue. The initial tension, anger, and anxiety had been intense, but the wisdom she had discovered provided a framework for transforming those negative emotions into a catalyst for growth and a deeper understanding of herself and the world around her. The practical lesson Sarah learned, and one that resonates deeply in our daily lives, is this: we will all inevitably face setbacks, failures, and moments of intense stress, anger, and anxiety. These experiences are an inherent part of the human condition. However, our well-being and our ability to navigate these challenges effectively depend not on avoiding these difficult situations, but on how we choose to respond to them. The wisdom of Stoicism, as exemplified by Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, offers a powerful and practical framework for dealing with such moments. Acknowledge and examine your emotions. Recognize the feelings of anger, anxiety, or frustration without judgment. Take the time to understand their root causes and challenge the underlying assumptions that fuel them. Focus on what is within your control. Much of our suffering stems from dwelling on things we cannot change. Shift your focus to your own thoughts, actions, and values. Take responsibility for your responses and strive to act with virtue and reason. Practice perspective taking. Remind yourself that setbacks are often temporary and that a single failure does not define your worth or your future potential. Consider the broader context and avoid catastrophizing. Cultivate inner resilience. Develop your capacity to bounce back from adversity. This involves practicing self-compassion, learning from your mistakes, and maintaining a belief in your ability to overcome challenges. Embrace impermanence. Understand that change is a constant in life. Accepting this reality can help you to navigate setbacks with greater equanimity and to see endings as potential beginnings. Just like Sarah, we can all learn to navigate the inevitable storms of life by turning inward, examining our emotional responses through the lens of reason, and choosing a path guided by wisdom and resilience, rather than being swept away by the intensity of our initial reactions. The power to find peace and strength in the face of adversity lies within our ability to master our minds,